Hi there, welcome to Hashtime with Nabuguzi Kiwanuka. My goal is to create a safe space where you and I get to engage in conversations society is silent about. On this platform, we get to unravel social constructs, discuss self-development in line with mental health and everything in between that directly or indirectly affects us in the millennial world around us. What do you get from this? Living a healthy and purposeful life that encourages you to set your eyes on your wildest goals. I am your host, Nabuguzi Kiwanuka, a lawyer, founder, team lead of Equate Foundation, a lover of conversations, and a professional unraveler of social constructs. I am beyond thrilled to welcome you to this new episode. And if you're hearing my voice for the first time, welcome to Hashtime with Nabuguzi Kiwanuka. It's going to be your favorite podcast. And to you, the returned subscriber, welcome back to yet another episode of insightful and unraveling conversations. Listen in. We teach girls to shrink themselves, to make themselves smaller. We say to girls, you can have ambition, but not too much. You should aim to be successful, but not too successful. Otherwise, you would threaten the man. Because I am female, I am expected to aspire to marriage. I am expected to make my life choices, always keeping in mind that marriage is the most important. Now, marriage can be a source of joy and love and mutual support, but why do we teach girls to aspire to marriage and we don't teach boys the same? We raise girls to see each other as competitors, not for jobs or accomplishments, which I think can be a good thing, but for the attention of men. We teach girls that they cannot be sexual beings as in the way that boys are. This is an excerpt from We Should All Be Feminists by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I decided that we start with it as food for thought for us to get into the celebratory mode of Women's History Month. So Monday was Women's Day. And I put up an appreciative post in our supposedly all-women Facebook group, applauding all the women, encouraging other women to show up and show out for themselves. While typing out the post, it dawned on me how much femininity comes with wounds almost every woman bears, and these wounds come in various forms that society believes are what defines real women. My hope in the post was that we are able to work well enough through the process of healing so that we don't pass down these wounds to the next generations. Many a time we find ourselves ascribing the strength of a woman to these societal shackles. And on the flip side of the proverbial coin, we loathe the woman who shuns this mindset. We are conditioned to believe that to be a woman is to be a lifetime subscriber of misery or dysfunction, or perhaps both. It's the reason we deeply hate the woman who refuses to conform to the wounded femininity, as if to not be wounded is to not be woman enough. The silenced truths, the stripped dignity, the broken boundaries, the mandatory submissiveness, the rugged confidence, and the constant need to compromise for us to be accepted in society are things passed on from generation to generation of women and are now part of our DNA and psyche. As a woman, I believe the wounding of femininity occurs on two fronts. The first, when the men dehumanize the women. The second, and perhaps more disturbing, when the women become major subscribers of misogyny. I dedicate this episode to the woman society has constructed you to be, in the hope that you patch up those broken pieces to construct an identity independent of this dysfunctional society. About 2 years ago, I posted on my WhatsApp status about sexual predators, calling upon all of us to check the religious leaders to whom we send our children to learn about God and every other religious texts, the teachers with whom we leave our children as they grapple the complexities of education, the caretakers with whom we entrust our children while we go about making ends meet, the relatives, the guardians, the list goes on and on. While I was posting these, I think I did not prepare myself for some people's confessions in my inbox. It makes me sad, even at this point, when I remember those texts. Especially the one where a friend said that she only got to know what her uncle was doing to her after she got to study about reproduction in her primary six. This episode is for the woman whose childhood was ravaged by the perverted form of masculinity, forcing you to transition from knowing nothing to believing nothing. I'd like you to know that while you struggle through the fact that you were abused, there is nothing you did that made that adult assault you. The adult is the one to blame. And I hope that you get to find the right process to give your inner child permission to fully heal from this trauma. I would like to speak to the woman who grew up with an abusive father. And when I speak about abuse, I don't mean it only in the physical form. Emotional abuse is one of the violences experienced in homes, and the first-hand consumer of these forms of abuse is usually the child in the home. So to the girl who had to constantly seek attention and approval from her father, I'm sorry that you unknowingly ended up carrying the pattern in almost all your relations with the men in your adult life. The constant need to be validated by men, the low self-esteem around them, the sense of worthlessness, and the poor self-confidence before them are seeds planted by the broken man who was supposed to be your first love. Ever heard of patterns? We like to relate with things that we know. And that's why you have continued to subconsciously fall in love with men as broken as your father. I would like you to know that your anger towards men is valid, for you did not bring it upon yourself. And I hope that you manage to uproot your father's works of brokenness and dysfunctionality, for you are worthy of healthy relations. This doesn't happen overnight, and I therefore invite you to trust the process. You are worthy and you are loved. At the start of last year, I attended a gathering that had various women who had been sexually abused. It was a safe space. A girl younger than me, I presume, asked me if rape can make a woman promiscuous. It does, I confirmed for her. She had a friend who had been struggling to heal after rape. She slept with every man she found. She desperately wanted to remind herself that she was in charge of her own body. This episode is dedicated to a woman like her. The woman who begged that her dignity not be stripped only for her plea to fall on deaf ears. I'm sorry the rapist made you feel like your body ceased to be your own in that moment. In this process of healing, however, while you take up ownership of what belongs to you, your body, my prayer is that you don't lose yourself. I'm here to let you know that you're not alone. This episode is for the woman whose mother or aunt or grandmother or sister refused to believe when a male relative raped her. If you ever choose to speak your truth, if you ever decide to come out and speak your truth, know that there is someone out there who believes your story. To the woman whose worth in a workspace is only measured by how much sex she can offer, I'd like to remind you that you're more than enough. To the woman who was reminded that she could not speak or take up spaces just because her chest holds mammary glands, I hereby re-remind you or counter-remind you that your anatomy should not be the reason you dismiss an opportunity that comes your way. Once a girl told me that I am weird. You remember what Chimamanda talked about? That we teach girls to be competitors for the attention of men. A girl called me weird. I had stopped a fellow girl and told her that she was beautiful. Yes, her beauty was striking. I could not contain how marveled I was when I looked at her. But to the girl that I was walking with, she was conditioned to believe that anything beautiful on another woman is deemed an incompetence on her womanhood. So this episode is dedicated to the woman like that girl. Another woman's shine does not dim your own. You and I are uniquely beautiful, and it does not kill your beauty to appreciate another woman's beauty. If another woman has an accomplishment, it doesn't take away your own. We are all unique. I dedicate this episode to the woman who has been told that submissiveness is all she has to define her femininity. The kind of woman afraid to say no to things that do not fulfill her. The one who has been conditioned to follow men without a sense of leadership. My prayer is that you find footing. And I'm here to remind you that to be born female does not automatically turn you into a slave. Only be submissive where there is leadership. I wish I could stress this enough, but you need to walk away from the table where love is no longer served. Choosing a dysfunctional relationship at the expense of your health and well-being is a disservice to yourself, and even worse to your children if you have any. This episode is here to remind you that you are worthy of a healthy environment, and so are your children if you have any again. I read somewhere that ultra independence is a trauma response. That cut deep. For many of us, we're just learning how to seek help, and I hope that you will too. I'm struggling to learn that. I'm trying to learn that. It comes in bits, only if you're intentional. And finally, this episode is dedicated to the woman struggling with mental health disorders. Thank you for choosing to stay. And I would like you to know that you're not alone. This is a platform where we encourage holistic cultivation of self, and I implore you to do the same for yourself. In the previous episode, I talked about the dangers of suppression of experiences in our lives. My hope is that you are able to encourage and empower any other woman in your contact list by sharing this episode with them. We need each other. Healthy woman, healthy society. Don't forget to subscribe to Hashtag with Nabuguzi Kiwanuka in your podcast platform of choice so that you don't miss out on any of the upcoming episodes. Follow us on social media on Facebook and Instagram. We are at Hashtag with Nabuguzi Kiwanuka. On Twitter, we are at HTNK Podcast. HTNK is all caps lock and podcast is in small case. All of it is just packaged as one word. I remain yours truly, Nabuguzi Kiwanuka. Till next time.